we are saying that Java is object-oriented programming language. If we are saying that any programming language is object-oriented, if we are saying that any programming language is object-oriented, it should satisfy the object-oriented principles. So what are the object-oriented principles we are having? Object-oriented principles. One is inheritance. The second thing is polymorphism. Third one is encapsulation. We are having these three object-oriented principles: inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. Okay, let us start with inheritance. Inheritance means reading the properties from one class to another class. Okay, the advantage of inheritance is reusability. So that we can save time and memory. Generally, how we are going to create a class? Like this, we are going to create a class. Inside the class, you will be having what? Variables and methods. Inside the class, you will be having variables and methods. Variables means use it to store the values. Variables means use it to store the values. Methods means use it to perform functionality. Okay, so I want to reuse those things. How we are going to use class B extends A. Whatever the properties we are having in A, we need to get into B. So whatever the properties means nothing but variables and methods. Don't confuse. Okay, properties means nothing but variables and methods. Okay, so take all these things. We'll go with an example now. Not example, I'll explain about types of inheritance. Take these things and let me know once you're done. Types of inheritance: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance. Totally we are having 5 types of inheritance: single, multiple, multi-level. Sir, repeat. Class B. Class B extends A means inheritance. Inheritance means taking the properties from one class to another class. Whatever the data we have in class A, get it into B. B extends A means whatever the data we have in A, get it into B. Single inheritance. See here, whatever the data we are having in A, if you want to get into B, we can use like this. Only one superclass and only one subclass. Single inheritance means only one superclass and only one subclass. This is single inheritance. Most important thing, second thing, multiple inheritance means multiple superclasses and one subclass. Multiple superclasses and one subclass. Multiple superclasses and one subclass. This is about multiple inheritance. Multi-level means, don't write ma. When I'm explaining, don't write. I'll give time for writing. A to B. See here, A is the superclass and B is the subclass. Again, B can act as superclass to another class. A to B, B to C. Again, C can act as superclass to another class. This is the concept of multi-level inheritance. Okay. Here, if you want to write a definition, you can write like a class can act as superclass and subclass to other classes. Next thing is hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical means one superclass, multiple subclasses. One superclass and multiple subclasses. For example, you have a class called A, B. Means once if you write the code, any number of times we can reuse the same code again and again. This is about hierarchical inheritance. And the next one is hybrid inheritance. It is a combination of multiple and hierarchical inheritance. See here, A, B, C, D. If you see A, B, and C, it is multiple, and if you take C, D, and E, it is hierarchical. Okay, na? Like this, we are going to work. All these 5 types of inheritance. And one more important thing here after multiple, take a note here. Java does not support multiple inheritance using classes. I'll tell you why it does not support again. It supports only by using interfaces. This interface concept we will discuss later. And in hybrid, I told you it is a combination of multiple and hierarchical, right? So here note, since Java does not support multiple inheritance using classes, hybrid inheritance also does not support using classes. Okay, so take these things, all the 5 types. If you have any questions, just let me know. Sai, any questions? Sai Sri.
Sir, please explain multi-level inheritance, sir.
Simple thing, ma. A and B, if you take, A is the superclass, B is the subclass, right? Again, B can act as superclass to another class. Class C also can extend B. Class C extends B means what? C is getting the properties. Already B is having A data, right? Now C extends B means what? C is getting the data of A and B. I'll show you with an example now.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
just take these points. I'll explain with an example again. Yeah, can you go with an example now? Everyone, please download JDK 1.8. Don't go to the very latest version. You will face lot of compatibility issues. That is the reason I asked you to download this one, JDK 1.8. And you know, right? I asked you to create a Oracle account. Okay, if you click on this link, if you click on this acceptance, if you click on this download JDK, right? It will ask you to log in into the Oracle account. But you may not have Oracle account. You need to click on create account. Okay. Fill all these necessary details. It's your wish, anything you can give. Click on create account. Then a link will be generated to your email ID. If you click on that link, your Oracle account will be activated. On top of that, you can log into your Oracle account and you can download the Java software. I have given the JDK 1.8 link in chat box, Uttej, and I'll be giving you Eclipse also. 3A packages. This one you need to download Eclipse ID for Java EE. 64-bit you need to download. Don't confuse. And I have given the link as well in the chat box. All the links I have given. Any questions or any doubts? What about others?
No, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Then let's go with an example now. Close all. Right click on this. This is not our one, right? Switch workspace. Close CYC. Fine. I'm going to create a new package for the purpose of inheritance. Right click on it. Listen first. Right click on SRC, new package. com.mother.inheritance. Right click on your package, new class called sample1. I created a class called sample1. In this sample1 class, int a is equal to, sorry, int a is equal to 45, void show. I have created a variable and I have created a method. Okay, just I have created a method called show. It's your wish. You can give any name. Okay, here is an example of inheritance. Okay, now I'm creating a new class called sample2. Sample2 extends sample1. What does it mean? Whatever the properties we are having in sample1, we need to get into sample2. Whatever the properties we are having in sample1, we need to get into sample. Apart from that, I'm creating a new method called display. I want the data. I want the sample1 data. Apart from that, I'm creating a new method here, display. When I call display method, I need to print this one. Advantage of inheritance is reusability. Okay. Now let me create a class called test. Let me create a new class called test. In this test class, I am creating a main method. See, generally for the purpose of main method, I usually create a separate class. I usually create a separate class for the purpose of main method. Okay, here I am creating object for subclass. Sample1 is the superclass. Sample2 is the subclass. Sample2 is equal to new sample2. Okay, now see here, I'm calling the data. Sample1 data as well, I'm calling here sample2.a. Why? Because we are inheriting, right? Sample2.show and sample2.display method also I'm calling. Save it, and if I run it, both the superclass subclass data we got here. But you need to remember one thing. For the purpose of main method, I'm creating a separate class. Generally, in real time, you may have hundreds of lines of code in your class. But if you write the same main method here itself, here we have less lines. But if you have hundreds of lines, if you write the same main method in the same class, that leads to confusion, right? That is the reason. For the purpose of main method, I'm creating a separate class. For the purpose of main method, what I'm doing, I'm creating a separate class. This is the example of single inheritance. Only one superclass. Superclass is the sample1 and subclass is the sample2. Okay. Now, see here. Second thing is multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance means what? Multiple superclasses, right? But if you put comma here, you will be getting a compile time error. Why we are getting compile time error? Why? Because Java does not support multiple inheritance using classes. At a time, you can inherit only one class. You cannot inherit multiple classes at a time. This is the second thing. Third one, multi-level inheritance. Already we are inheriting the sample1 data into sample2, right? Now what I'll do, I'm creating a new class called sample3. Sample3 extends sample2. What does it mean? Whatever the data we are having in sample2, we need to get into sample3. But already we have sample1 data in sample2, right? So when we are inheriting sample3 extends sample2 means sample3 is getting the properties of sample1 and sample2. Why? Already we have sample1 data in sample2 and we have some data in sample2. Entire data we are calling here. I'm creating a new method called here void show2. Here is an example of hierarchical inheritance. Here is an example of hierarchical inheritance. Now see here in test.java. Let me keep this logic in comments for now. Shortcut key is select the code, Control Shift \. Sample3 is equal to new sample 3. Sample 3 dot a, sample 3 dot show, sample 3 dot show to, sample 3 dot display, like this we can call. See here, completely it got executed successfully. This is about multi-level inheritance. The next one is hierarchical inheritance. The next one is hierarchical inheritance. See here, already sample 2 is extending sample 1, right? Now I'm creating a new class called sample 4. New class called sample 4 extends sample 1. Sample 2 is extending sample 1. Again, sample 4 is also extending sample 1. Here, void show 6 something. Hierarchical means one superclass and multiple subclasses. Okay. Now in test.java, let me keep this logic in comments. Sample 4. Sample 4 is equal to new sample 4. See here. A value is sample 4 dot a, sample 4 dot show, sample 4 dot show 6. Save it and run it. Okay. See here, already sample is extending sample 1. Again, sample 4 is also extending sample 1. Again, if we can create any class which extends sample 1, right? Because once if you write a class, we can hit any number of times of code, but at a time we can hit only one time. This is about hierarchical inheritance. And the last one is what? Hybrid inheritance. Hybrid means already you are aware, right? It is a combination of multiple and hierarchical. Since Java does not support multiple inheritance using classes, right? Hybrid inheritance also does not support using classes. But I will explain you after taking this example. I'll explain you why Java does not support multiple inheritance using classes. Take these things, take from sample 1. Now, is it clear, everyone? Inheritance, how we are working, how we are inheriting by using extends keyword. Is it clear? Any doubts, any confusion, any difficulty? Let me know, I'll explain you once again. Easy thing, right? Similar kind of example, can you practice? Take these things. If you have any questions now, don't hesitate to ask me. You can ask any questions. Either it is a basic or difficult thing, anything. Yeah, okay then. Tomorrow I'll be explaining about why Java does not support multiple inheritance using classes. And then we'll go for access modifiers and further things. Okay, na? I'll be stopping for now. Let's connect tomorrow. Thanks everyone. Have a nice day.